how we do. Return to the noise is how we do. How we do. You know it's how we do.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris and you're watching The Crown Peach Show, and I'm so excited to be back after a break. Happy holidays, Happy New Year everybody. And with me today I have my friend Mr. Bruce Jingles.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. Now that we got better cameras, better lighting, better sound.
It was classy. I like the set and everything, and it looks all organized and everything.
Yeah.
But looks can be deceiving.
Yes, they can. No, that's what I was thinking. Like it's a hot mess. I dragged a leg in here, broke a nail.
Yeah, but you were here.
Exactly.
You were
Showing
here.
up is half the battle, right?
G.I. Joe.
Thank you for being here. I know
thank
today is a sensitive, special day for you, and I
Yes.
appreciate you being here with us.
I appreciate you having me. Got me out of the house and got
Okay,
me
good.
not thinking about.
Well, that's what friends do. We get you out of the funk and out of the house and out there.
Yeah.
And
a
it's
very
okay to be in a
sensitive day.
funk, right?
Yeah. I've been in the funk for the last 3 years. That's including the 2 years with COVID, and then after my mom passing, you have to
I know.
mentally reevaluate yourself or restart yourself.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. With reevaluating, restarting, even every day.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you want to read my text messages, today I was in a funk and I was texting Nelson, who's the owner of Urban Soul TV, and I was telling him, I don't feel like doing this. And he gave me some words of motivation. So just like I pulled you out of the house and out of the funk, even for just a couple hours, someone had to pull me out of the house today and out of my funk.
Yeah, because I'd have been mad at the motherfucker if you wouldn't have been here when I got here. And you weren't here when I got here. I was like, what's this?
This motherfucker. Just putting me on blast.
Once you get black.
No, I wasn't here because I'm dragging a leg, but it takes someone sometimes from the outside to pull you out of your funky.
Yes.
Your funky funk. So
And that's an easy pit to fall into.
Yeah.
And stay in it.
Yes. Yes, you get stuck in it.
Mm-hmm. Because I think because we've reached the age where we're dealing with parents passing and all that stuff, and I think your character is defined about how you handle it.
Yes.
I know you've known people that were like before they were staunch, great people, they had all this shit together, and then their parents pass, and then they go from sugar to shit.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's not even parents passing it. It's something traumatic in their life. You know what I mean? It could be a breakup, a divorce. They lost their job, and then shit just keeps going downhill. And it's so hard to grab any kind of lifesaver that anyone's throwing at you. Do you know what I mean?
It was. I definitely know. Like I was saying, in the 2 years dealing with COVID and not knowing a career that was blossoming into something bigger is suddenly stopped, and you don't know if that career is going to come back.
Yeah.
And you're trying to stay relevant at the same time when there's no way to do shows and just coming up with ways to stay relevant and all that.
Yeah.
Then finally, do you see some sunshine at the end of the rainbow? Go on your first road gig. You come back and find your mom on the living room floor, passed away, and I had missed it by an hour.
Wow.
The flight that I had from Arizona was an hour late. Yeah.
Wow.
So you got that in your mind. I don't know if people have noticed, like, have you ever seen the Batman movie?
Which one? There's so many of them. Yeah.
But how many times do you see Bruce Wayne's parents die? And that's what you go through. It's because you see that exact moment that they pass, and it keeps going, keeps going.
Okay, so it's kind of stuck on repeat, that feeling, that moment. I'm really sorry about that, Bruce. That breaks my heart that someone that brings so much joy and laughter to everyone's lives has to endure that. Do you think that's a common misconception that people have, that just because you're a comedian, your life is all rainbows and
Sunshine
laughter
and lollipops?
sunshine? Yeah, exactly.
Like, especially when they find out that you're a comedian, if they don't know you're a comedian at all, and they say, "Well, tell me a joke." It's like, all right, well, make me a sandwich. Well, I'm not at work. All right.
Exactly. Same, right?
But you don't work. Like, well, you define work as something you put an effort into.
Yes.
So people's definition of work, I don't dig ditches. I don't, I'm not, on high wire or anything like that. But work is work, and what you put into it determines how hard of work.
And you're doing a job up there on stage, and that is to distract people from their everyday shit.
Yeah, and command that audience for a certain length of time.
Yeah.
And everything has to work, because you're judged by your last joke.
How did you get into stand-up?
I was dared to audition for an amateur contest that was at the Ontario Improv. It had just opened a couple of months prior, and I finally got coached into trying out for it. I was the last contestant in the contest, and I was the first one in the initial first contest.
Okay.
And I won that, and that was my first time on stage.
What did you like more, being first or being last?
We're groomed to think that being last is always great, but you learn that being first gets you out of the way, and you also set the pace.
Okay.
So now, if you smash, people have to follow you.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So you set the course of how the show's going to go.
You set the tone for sure.
And if you are an experienced comedian, you know how to ride a wave, and not let anybody not let the previous comic intimidate you. That determines how good of a comedian you are, in my opinion. Because just to know how to get out of certain situations, how to navigate through.
Yeah. And
then make your own point and improve your own.
Was that the dream growing up, to be a comedian of sorts?
It was a daydream. Because I was always like a class clown. But most of the time I was shy. And, I was very reserved until I think I was like 11. I went to school in L.A., so LA Unified School District.
Yeah.
And I had this teacher. Her name was Ms. Rainwater. Ms. Rainwater was my mother's teacher in junior high. And did
she remember your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And my mom said she was a bitch then. And she was very country. And one of the things is she was there's a term called cockeyed. She was visually impaired. And she had
were they crossed?
They looked like Marty Feldman eyes. And she was just you couldn't look at her. She was like, oh, you
didn't know which eye to look at, huh?
Exactly. And then she was at the chalkboard writing something out. Had her back to the class. I was screwing around, and then she says, "I got my eye on you, Jingles." I said, "I bet you do." And I got suspended for 3 days, and I had to go home. And my mother and I lived with my grandparents, her parents, and my grandfather was pissed. He said, "I didn't tell you go to school and be no goddamn flip. What the hell you think you fucking about Bill Cosby for?" So he's naming all these black comics.
Yeah.
Right. And then he's like, "I didn't tell you to be Pigmeat Markham and all this shit."
Yeah.
He said, "I'm gonna go. Your mama can't go to the school tomorrow, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find out what's going on. And if you ain't doing what you need to be doing, I'm gonna beat your ass." And my grandfather was the toughest dude I had known. He was in his 60s, and he got into a fight with 3 dudes at a pool hall, which was on the way home from school. So I had to pass the pool hall to get home.
Oh my gosh.
And then somebody said, "Jingles, your grandfather's fighting." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I could do some shit.
Yeah.
And then I ran over there, and my grandfather was beating the hell out of 3 dudes. So nobody fucked with me in that neighborhood anymore.
They knew.
And plus we had a St. Bernard. So I was pretty taken care of.
Oh, that's awesome. We're going to take a really quick break, and we'll be right back, okay?
Here goes, kick off your shoes, relax your feet. Keep your iceberg, step tail, bring the heat. Classes in session, everybody take a seat. You got a problem at the...
And we're back from our little break. I'm sorry, Bruce had some glitter on his lips, and it was distracting the shit out of me. I was getting ready to be like, that's a wrap. Let's go back to where Bruce came from.
It was, well, at least it was just glitter on my lips. At least my lips didn't look like busted hot links.
No,
when black people have busted, fucked up lips, it's horrible. It's like, ugh.
Like, get some chapstick, right?
Yeah, you get chapped tree because it's big ass.
Get a lip balm on there. So we are back, and we were talking about your grandfather at 60 years old was fighting people.
63.
And he was getting into fights at the pool hall.
Well, this is the same man who, from the age of 11, was orphaned, and he had to raise himself during Prohibition.
Wow.
So he had to become a bootlegger, and he was, transporting liquor across state lines. And at that time, blacks had a hard time crossing state lines, and so you learn to be tough. You have to learn that. Like, he left Houston, Texas, because he had to kill 2 white dudes.
Wow.
And it tripped me when I found out. I was like, "Why'd you kill 2 white dudes? They're trying to kill me, shit."
Self-defense.
But they didn't. But they didn't have. It was Houston, black, white.
Yeah, it kind of didn't matter back then. You're guilty.
Yeah. So as soon as he did the deed, he left, and that's how he ended up in California. That's how he met my grandmother.
Wow.
And
so it was.
Thankfully, thanks for killing those.
Yeah, it's funny. People don't realize that, like, our ancestors, what they went through is why we're here today. You know what I mean? I always tell my children, like, give thanks and praise to your grandparents that they left Mexico and came here, else you wouldn't be here. They had the guts to move somewhere else.
And kids don't realize that. Like, when you were a kid, and your grandparents would tell you a story, didn't you always vision that story in black and white?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you naturally thought that
stick figures drawing out.
Exactly. Like, you naturally thought that when your grandparents were growing up, it was all black and white. Color didn't come around till you were born.
Oh yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then they don't grasp the reality of it. They don't grasp the little points. Your grandparents were young once. Yeah, your grandfather was a bad motherfucker. You could fight. Yeah, your grandmother was hot at one time.
Yeah.
Not the little old lady with the
That's all they see. It's like tunnel vision. Yeah, for sure. I know. I'm already a grandparent, and I'm having a hard time with my granddaughter. I'm like, girl, I'm trying to.
How old is you?
I know. She's 12. I've been a nana since I was 32. But my daughter didn't have her children young. I had my daughter very young, before it was popular.
How old were you?
When I had my daughter, I was 13. I was 13 when I had my first child, before MTV made it popular.
Oh.
But so I get what you're saying, where they don't
13?
get it. Yeah.
I gotta kill.
I know.
I can't. Oh.
I know.
Imagine.
Just wait for the book. It's gonna be very juicy.
My mom was 16.
Yeah, my mom was 16 too.
That's just how it was back then, but you don't realize it until this next generation, and you realize how old they are. It's weird. It's crazy. If you're young and have a kid, your grandkids are going to be young, and it's going to somehow.
When people find out that I'm a grandmother, they always assume that my daughter had her children very young. My daughter was over 18 when she had her kids, but because I had her so young, no one believes that I'm a nana. Yes, but I'm having the same problem where my granddaughter, she doesn't listen to a word I say. I'm like, girl, I lived it. I did it. Right now, she just dyed her hair. She bleached her hair and then tried dyeing it. So her shit was like orange.
Oh, God.
Like a little orange skunk, She's literally at home as we speak fixing it. So comedy was a hobby for you. You just like to joke around in school and stuff.
It was not a hobby, but it was just
a daydream, you said.
It was a way to let the real me out, because I was so reserved. Because when I was a kid, my original goal was to become a comic book artist, because I'm a big comic book nerd. And
do you draw?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not as well as I used to, because of arthritis in my hands. But I was going to go to Art Center in Pasadena.
Okay.
But life happened.
Yes.
And couldn't do it, so I had to get a regular day job. And then I lost my love. I lost my love of art. At the same, I didn't lose my love of comic books. I lost my love of art because there were so many newer artists that were just amazing that I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle. And
I hear you.
It became more of a hobby. Then it switched up.
So if there was no comedy, that's something that you would have pursued.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would have pursued.
But in doing comedy, you've gotten to meet a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite person that you've met so far?
Chappelle.
Besides me. Did you say Chappelle?
Chappelle.
Why?
He's my favorite comedian. I think he is he's the best. He's the greatest. Not just because of his irreverence, but because he's one of the few comedians that do both sides of an issue. Okay. And brings it out into the set.
So he makes light of both sides
of
something that normal people are probably debating and arguing about, right?
Mm-hmm. Because if you're more of a liberal comedian, you're gonna have a liberal side. If you're more of a conservative comedian, you're gonna have a conservative side. It's not gonna be both sides. And he finds a way to bridge that together. And he reminds me of me. Mm-hmm. Just the way he sees the world. He's not just a black dude. He's a black dude that knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
And when people try to define who's better, him or Pryor, well, that's two different generations.
Exactly.
And that's two different ways. Like one was raised in a brothel, the other one was raised by two college professors. So you have the two different dynamics. Mm-hmm. But you have the same love of comedy.
Yeah.
So you can't compare the two. That's a generational thing. Without Pryor, there'd be no Chappelle.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Without Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, the Jim Carreys, there would be no Chappelle or Bruce Jingles.
And thank you. Well, and I also think a lot of newer comics don't know their history, their comedian history. Like example, I know a lot of newer comics that their history goes as far back as Dane Cook.
Or Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I know pretty much every different genre of comedy, be it urban comedy, Latin comedy, mainstream comedy, white comedy, or blue comedy. I know like different TV shows, different aspects of it. And that's what I think is lost. Because in comedy is knowledge of history. Because if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it.
No, that's really good advice. That's very good advice. You need to know the greats before you even try to stand with the greats.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Like I run into comments and I don't think Richard Pryor is funny. Well, what? Like what the fuck is wrong? Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody has their opinion. But you have to respect what's been done previously.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in everything, even acting and singing, like don't try to stand up there and sing with the best if you don't even know who the best were or are still.
Yeah, it goes with any occupation. Mm-hmm. But like I said, what needs to be learned more is history.
The history of comedy, yeah, for sure.
And respect of it. A lot of young comics aren't respectful of comics like myself or like Jeff or anybody, the ones that were above me before me. Mm-hmm.
So what's some advice you could give to these besides know the greats before you try to step on stage, know your history of comedy? What's some other advice you would give to someone that's, you know what, I want to try this.
Don't do it.
Open mic. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it with the intention of making money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do it for the love of the art.
Do it for the fun of it.
That'll lead to money.
Okay, that's really good.
Eventually, it's not going to be instantaneous.
Yeah.
But if you respect it, work hard at it. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, keep your mouth shut and your ears open. That's another thing too.
That's in like all walks of life, though. Shut your mouth and open your eyes.
Yeah. But people, they don't listen. And
no.
Then that's when comedy lives are short-lived. Also, I think the word headliner is overused.
Okay.
Just because you went last on a show doesn't mean you're a headliner.
Yeah, because your opener could freaking kill it and you can't follow it.
Yeah, or you're a headliner if you go to another town you've never been to before, and people go to see you.
Yeah,
you're not
specifically you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're not a headliner if you go after 12 comics. You just went last.
So far in your stand-up, what has been your most favorite moment?
It's a lot.
Okay, you can share a lot with me if you want.
Ooh, dirty cochina.
Sometimes. You had glitter all over your face when you got here, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing any glitter, Mom.
No,
You're
anymore.
Not anymore.
My favorite moment, I think it's different times. My favorite, most recent moment is when I filmed my special in June of last year. Before that, following Chappelle, going after Chappelle and smashing.
Nice.
Also, the first special I did with Jeff Garcia, that was a moment that changed a lot for me. Opening for Snoop and Cypress Hill.
Yeah, those are big moments.
That's the thing with comedy. Comedy has allowed me to meet celebrities, or I guess other celebrities, or bigger celebrities than I am in different genres, like actors, wrestlers, comic book artists, writers.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
comedy has opened
Which one
so
is
many
it?
doors for
All
you.
of them.
Oh,
Not
shit.
only professionally, but personally as well.
yes, and he can also close if you. But I think those need to be
Do you need to go
closed.
pee or
Yeah.
anything?
That was close for a reason.
No? Okay,
For
good.
sure. We're going to take a really quick break, you guys. Enjoy this clip of Bruce while you wait for us to come back.
I know after this, I'm gonna get fucked up. I love drinking. Fuck yeah, drinking's fucking fun, isn't it? I love drinking so much, I gave up driving. Translation, 2 DUIs. Seriously, I haven't legally driven in California in the last 4 years. I just got my license back recently. Oh, thank you. Thinking about buying a new car. I'm thinking about getting my car from England just because I'm so used to getting on the passenger side now. And all my years of drinking, I figured out something that each race has a different alcohol that fucks other races up. I'm serious. Mexican people have tequila, Patron, right? Black people, we have Hennessy and Kool-Aid. White people have Jägermeister. Oh, okay, you see that? White people. Fuck, Jägermeister is disgusting. Jägermeister is disgusting. I'm serious. I think Jägermeister, I think Hitler came up with that shit. That shit's just like him, evil. And black people, we don't drink Jägermeister. If you know anybody black with Jägermeister in their house, that's not their house. Get out of there before you become an accomplice. I'm serious, I fucking hate Jägermeister. I'll tell you what happened with me and Jägermeister. It's a true story. I was hanging out with my white friend, his name's Josh. And Josh, okay, remember the dudes in high school that had the long hair and the Def Leppard shirt and the checkerboard Vans? That's Josh. And me and Josh are smoking out, right? And then Josh looks at me and goes, dude, come on. Dude, let's go get some Jägermeister, dude, come on. Dude. I'm like, Josh, I don't feel like drinking. He's all, dude, I'm buying. I was like, let's go. 15 shots of Jägermeister later. I get fucked up. 15 shots of Jägermeister later, Josh runs out of money, and I'm fucking lit, and I want to keep drinking. He's like, it's okay, Josh, I'll get some more, I don't give a fuck. And remember, we've been drinking Jägermeister the whole night. Now, Jägermeister is a stupid, violent drunk. It makes you hear shit that didn't happen. So I stagger up to the bartender, and she looks at me and goes, Jaeger? I said, what you call me, bitch? And that's when the manager came out. He's like, is there a problem there? I was like, no, there's no fucking problem here. Look, me and my friend Josh, that guy over there, we've been in your establishment all evening, drinking Niggermeisters. And your bartender called me a Jaeger. I don't appreciate that. I don't need to hear that during Black History Month. What's wrong with you? And they got a drink with Jägermeister now called the Jaeger Bombs. Again, white people. Jaeger Bomb is Jägermeister dropped into a glass of Red Bull. Stupid drunk. Now you get so fucked up you can't go to sleep. You just sitting there. And I think there's a laxative in Jägermeister, I think. Or it is for me, I don't know. This happened to me the next day after I got fucked up. You ever have a day where you get messed up and then the next day you don't have a hangover, so you're like, cool. You know, and you're walking down, this is what happened to me. I'm walking down the street and all of a sudden I hear my stomach go. I'm looking around, who's making coffee? What was that? And I keep walking down. And you know what's about to happen. We've all been through this. Each race has a different name for it. Mexican people call this a chorro. Black people, we call it mud butt. White people, diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. So this is what happened to me, right? I'm sitting there, and you know, right, when the chorro's about to hit, and you get kind of nervous, and you're shaking, right? Because you don't know how it's gonna come out. Is it gonna be soy sauce or soft serve? You don't know. And all of a sudden, that chorro hits, and he stops, you're like, oh. And I'm sitting there, you know you have that cold sweat. So I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting there going, I will never drink anything as dark as me again.
We are back, you guys, with Bruce, with Mr. Bruce Jingles. Has anything ever embarrassing happened to you on stage?
A lot.
A lot?
I was drunk and I had to go to the bathroom really bad, but I had to hold it for a long time.
Oh, God.
A little bit. but luckily with good dick strength, I held back the majority
The rest of it?
the pee. Well, a little just came out and
He was like, I'm not joking, fucker, I gotta go.
Yeah, this shit, it hurt. And if you're a guy and you ever tried to pull back a pee stream, I was making faces and they weren't sex faces. They were pain.
Were you at least wearing black pants where no one could see?
No.
You were wearing like the light blue jeans?
No, yes.
Shit, that's horrible.
Yeah, it looked like acid wash. It was fucked up.
Oh my gosh.
And I told him I had to go. The motherfucker should have been at his spot. Like, shit. If you'd have been at his spot, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's why you should be on time, new comics. Be on time for the show. They tell you 7 o'clock, you have your ass there, 6:20.
With an empty bladder.
Amen.
So do you ever encounter hecklers at your shows?
Occasionally.
Occasionally?
Occasionally.
How do you handle that situation?
If they know me, they know better than to do that.
Okay.
Usually I'd let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're insistent on fucking with the show,
yeah,
then I'll hit them like 3 times with like two.
Just come
two
at
jokes.
them.
Yeah, and then that way they're what?
Uh-huh.
And then you go back to the exact moment you left.
Oh.
Because then it's a psychological ploy. It's like, this motherfucker just got me 3 times and went back to this shit.
Yeah.
The shit I tried to interrupt, and then it's like, oh, okay. And that's when you get the audience. The audience's side.
They're on your side. Yeah.
Because you handled it masterfully, and you went back to the shit that you were originally talking about, so you don't look dumbfounded, or
Thrown off
or anything. And
that's probably not easy, because that means that you have to prepare your set, prepare your time, and then also be ready to improvise.
Well, you have to be ready on the fly, because anything could happen.
And some comedians are not ready for that.
No, because they're scripted.
Yeah.
And they're not they're not ready on the fly, and the audience wants acknowledgement of something that happened during the show. You have to acknowledge that, because it's real time.
It happened, it's right there.
What is your saying of this shit that happened? And that's it. There are different stages of being a comic. One is stage presence, stage awareness, awareness of the environment. I watch the show, like little bits of the show. They're the people that opened before me, so I know.
That was my next question. If you watched the people that opened before you,
I don't watch a full set, but I watch enough
just to fill the audience. Smart.
So I know where. Okay, that kind of joke didn't work in that area. And this is so you have to know little points. Yeah. And I think it makes you a little more successful. Not everybody's procedures work for every individual. It's just something to structure your set on.
Yeah.
To make it a little easier.
I have a question, because I wonder about this too. Good to know. How do you feel about comics being canceled or chastised for something they said 10 years ago, whether it be text, Twitter, wherever? How do you feel about that?
It depends on what they said.
Okay.
How it was said. And if they continue to have that same negative thought today.
But what if it's something they said on stage while working as a comedian?
Depends on what they said.
Again? Okay.
Again, if you're say for instance a white comic and you use the N-word and there's nothing behind you saying it, you just saying it to say it.
Yeah.
Then
then you have a problem.
But if you're like say Louis C.K. who has a joke involving the N-word, but it's structured, but it makes
it's part of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes somewhere with it. Then it's different.
Yes.
Then you can't call that person racist, because they have a foundation why they're using that word.
Yeah.
There's a meaning.
There's a
reason.
There's a means to the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't say just say the N-word and just say it. I think it's the individual that's telling the joke. Like for instance, there's some comics that do rape jokes. I don't think rape jokes are funny, and but there's some people that do. That's not my forte.
Now, besides that, is there anything that you won't joke about on stage?
Depends. Well, I try not to get into anything political.
Okay.
Because look at what this country is very politically dumb. A lot of people in this country let social media dictate how they think.
Yeah.
And they become opinionated on something they have known nothing about, and they're letting other people judge how they think. But you can't say that because that starts a whole powder keg of all that shit. So I just avoid that. Because again, in times on Facebook that I've said something, something that the government did that was fucking stupid. Then you have some people that are pro-government. Oh, you fucking this, and then it just starts a whole.
You can't talk politics on social media or with your family.
Yeah,
just keep it to yourself.
Well, it used to be a time when bars would say, "Do not discuss politics, religion," or I forget what the other topic.
That was probably a good bar then, if you forgot what it said.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to get political arguments, And that's what this country did, is they took that rule out and everybody became a fucking political science major. And they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's...
So no rape and no politics. You won't get any of that at his show.
No, you won't get raped at my show. I'm not Bill Cosby. And if I have sex with you, I don't have to put you to sleep. I put you to sleep after the thing. I don't... that's creepy itself.
Yes, that is. Please, let's stop talking about. I'm gonna have nightmares about
proves
pudding and Bill Cosby.
That just proves how horrible a lover he was. You know what I mean?
Did
you had to put a chick to sleep.
So how do you feel about? I read online that he's gonna start a tour.
Good. What else is he supposed to do? Because he's gonna get an audience. People are going to go see it. I'm gonna see it.
Yeah. People, inquiring minds, right?
Yeah. Well, you have with Cosby, I am torn because I respect the hell out of the work he did, that he put in. You know, his talent. I don't respect what he did personally.
Of course.
I happen to know some comics that I am friends with that were almost victims of it. Oh. So that whole Cosby thing, that was known in the black comedy world before it hit mainstream.
Really?
It was but what blacks we like to do is we don't let our secrets out. Just because the other people wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
So like the way I learned about it mainly was I had opened for Paul Mooney, late Paul Mooney, during OJ's second trial. The one that he was in Vegas.
Yeah, isn't it like assault or something?
Yeah, or no.
He stole his own merchandise back. Yeah.
And I call it OJ2. This time we got him. And
for something.
Yeah, and Mooney and I are sitting in the green room getting ready for the second show, and they had just delivered the verdict. So we're sitting there watching it, and then Mr. Mooney says, "Homie, they're getting ready to put this nigga under the jail, right?" And I'm just laughing. And then somebody had mentioned Cosby out of nowhere, and he just said, "Well, that nigga ain't gonna do nothing but rape them white women." I was like, "What?" You know, like. Oh. And then it was.
Yeah.
Nothing else was said, and then I started asking asking comics that I knew, "What is this about this?" And they would.
So it was something that was known but wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like homosexuality in the black community. That's not taught. That's not discussed. It's like I had a gay uncle. But my grandfather, he spoke like this, and he said, "Hey, we will not discuss your uncle seeking the company of men." And he was so he'll never said he was gay.
Yeah, but it was known, but we just didn't speak about it.
And then I learned because he told me as a kid, he goes, "One thing I want you to know, in life, you're either a pitcher or a catcher. Be a pitcher."
Be a pitcher.
And then I thought about it. I was like, "This motherfucker don't play baseball."
What is he talking about?
And then a couple of years later, I was like, oh.
You're all, do you, Uncle? Do you?
Yeah,
don't do me. Do you?
And that's like if I were gay, I wouldn't date a black dude. Fuck that.
Don't want to die.
Ain't nobody fucking up my chocolate starfish. Fuck that. I'll date an Asian dude. That's safe.
Now, do you ever joke about homosexuality on stage?
Yeah, but I know not to. Not to gay bash.
Yeah.
But I will do a gay person's. I will act out.
You do that very well.
Thank you.
Bitch.
Because some people need to learn. That's one thing I can do is I pick up little idiosyncrasies of different people, like or different accents or different ways of speaking.
Yeah.
Characteristics. To where I can get away with it.
Yeah, mannerisms and stuff, and make it funny.
Yes, and to make it, it sounds like him. It is him. So they can picture that person I'm doing an impression of.
Yeah.
Doing it. So that makes it that makes it a lot more,
it's funny.
lack of a better term, passable.
Yeah. Acceptable and funny.
Yeah, acceptable, yes.
I get it.
Thank you. I'll give that.
I got
brain
you.
fart.
Teamwork here. So what
Makes
do you?
the dream work.
Exactly. What do you have coming up?
My lunch. No.
Besides dinner after this, what do you have coming up?
I'm in El Paso the 19th of this month to the 22nd at the El Paso Comic Strip.
Mm-hmm.
Tickets are on sale now. Go to elpasocomicstrip.com. Or the following week, I'm in Flagstaff and Prescott, Arizona. I'm doing the Orpheum Theater in Flagstaff on Friday the 27th. On Saturday the 28th, I'm at the Elks Theater in Prescott, Arizona. So
nice.
White people, come see me.
And you filmed a Netflix special in June, correct?
Well, it's not sold to Netflix.
Not yet.
I'm shopping
Netflix,
it to Netflix.
come on, get it together.
Some whoever picks it up.
Yeah.
You know, they Clan Planet. I need to do the Clan channel. If they buy that motherfucker, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm meeting with Netflix and I'm meeting with other platforms. So it's
awesome.
So that's the main thing I'm kind of focused on. I'm just like good producing it myself and everything. It's very stressful because I have to handle everything. But
that's how you know it gets done right.
Yes,
that's
and I
how
have
you know.
ownership. So
that's awesome. Well, congratulations with
Thank
that.
you.
Starting 2023 on a good note. Busy and selling your special.
Yeah, and I got laid the first day.
Amen.
The new year, so.
Now, did you make her your girlfriend?
Hell no.
Dang it.
No.
I love when my guy friends have girlfriends or like dating somebody because that means I'm not the only girl like in the room or hanging out.
Well,
like when they bring their chicks around.
I try not to. I try not to bring them around because then they become somehow involved in my work. It's not like I go to their work and fuck with their students. Like if they're a teacher, I don't go fuck. Oh no, erase all this shit you just wrote on the board. Now we're gonna do this. You know, it's different. I try to keep two worlds.
Keep them separate. Yeah, I understand that for sure. Don't mix it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't bone a comedian. Like,
would you date a comedian?
No, fuck no.
No?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to be no chick's fucking closer. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be her closing joke and shit. Let me tell you about Bruce. Okay,
oh yeah, could you
this
imagine?
motherfucker likes interracial porn. I don't know.
Let it out. Okay, I know you have plans after this, so I'm going to wrap it up for you, but I love having you on.
Thank you.
And then I have my other segment, and I want you to come back and be on that at a later date, okay?
I appreciate it.
Before we go, can you tell them where they can follow you and watch you?
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, any social media platform. Just type in Bruce Jingles, BruceJingles.
That's right.
And you see a black dude, me. And you can follow me on social media, but if you follow me anywhere else, I'll call the cops.
That's right. He will call the cops. I know. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys for being here with us. This has been the Crown Peach Show. I'm so excited to have you back. And we're going to have Bruce back again on a different date to talk relationship and talk crap with us.
You want to hear my relationship advice?
No, we do, especially because you showed up with glitter all over your mouth.
Yeah.
We want all the juicy juice. So
I think I got it. No.
Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, leave us a comment. And if you send me a DM, please kiss it. Keep it simple, sexy.
Yeah, and no dick pics.
No, we're not doing that in 2023. Thank you.
You gotta grow up.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, huh? Hey, I'm here now. This one here's inspired by all the haters. I feel it down deep in my soul to talk about days of old. All the cats that said I would blow, now they begging for tickets to my show. Listen, a girl walked out today, left me stranded with nowhere to stay. It was probably my fault, they say, but bump that, man, that shit was scary. All of this after I gave you my bucket to drive when you didn't have a ride. I taught you how to dress real live. She needs a man that's home for dinner at 5, and after that, next to her every night. And that wasn't me. And not because I'm out running the streets. I'm in the studio riding these beats, but you swore I'm in the studio sessions.